this film is not so much about what happened on the day when President Kennedy was assassinated. Perhaps you've got your own views on that, because obviously there's so many different conspiracy theories. It's more about, I was able to visit recently in July 2023, what you can see there today. Most of these will be on the outside because you're not actually allowed or supposed to film inside the building where the shots allegedly, we'll have to say, took place. But it's an interesting place to visit. The first thing that strikes you if you've never been here is actually how small it is compared to what you imagine it to be from seeing the old newsreels, etc. It's a lot smaller area than I thought. The roads in particular weren't as wide when I was there as you imagine them to be. And you can walk around outside the various, obviously, Dealey Plaza, the grassy knoll. There's various plaques put in certain places to guide you. You can go to where Zapruder made his famous film on top of a plinth, and there's a plaque. Not this one, but there's another plaque to indicate where that was when he was standing on top of the plinth there in the distance, making his famous film, where he basically captured the whole of the events. Again, what you do sort of realise when you're here, whether it was Lee Harvey Oswald or whoever, they did choose, if the shots came from the book depository building, the ideal location, because Kennedy's car had to turn the corner and slow down, and it gave them in this location the perfect place to take a shot from. This is the famous fence. It's not the original look. They've replaced it, but they've replaced it in the same style. This is at the top of the grassy knoll, which when you look over, it's a very short distance to the road there. So if somebody was shooting from there, then that would have been a very relatively easy shot because the distance is quite short. Also, behind there is quite open, so if somebody was trying to get away, you'd have to say that was perhaps possible. This is then the railway bridge where I think people were working at the time when they heard the shots. But then again, it could possibly be that shots were reverberating off the buildings in Dealey Plaza, and people were confused about exactly where those shots were coming from. That's another question. It gives you a picture. Obviously, after the president was shot, he was then rushed on this road under this underpass to the hospital. But I think already by then he'd passed away. So that's a look at the building, and the famous window is on the 6th floor on the right-hand side. You can't actually stand at that window because they've got it blocked off to show this how it would have looked on the day, but you can stand at the window next door, and you can stand at the window directly above it on the 7th floor. It's a little bit like one of these things. When you're on the ground, it's like being on what we're best described, maybe a water park, and you're looking up at a water slide, and you think, well, that doesn't look too tall. And then when you climb to the top, it looks a lot higher than you thought it was. It's a little bit like that. When you stand on the ground where they've got the marks of where the shots hit, I think the first is 165 feet. There were 3 shots in total. The first one missed. Second one hit the president in the throat, and then the third one, we will say, hit him in the head, which was the killer shot. Doesn't look that far when you stand on the ground looking up, but when you stand at the windows looking down, it does look further. That's for sure. So this is now a museum. It's not open every day, but you can check the timings. You go in the museum. They've got a very, very good demonstration on the 6th floor. And then on the 7th floor, the top floor, they have the videos playing. And that's quite poignant because you're watching the video, but you already know what's going to happen. So they've got a lot of artifacts on the 6th floor relating to the whole situation. and that's the front door there. I mean, one of the ironies of that was, on that notice, they've got no firearms. And that's a picture inside of the sniper's nest, which they've blocked in perspex. Now, that's a view, I think that's from the 7th floor. We took that just to give an idea of what it would be look like looking down from that window. But I say that's the 7th floor. That's another floor higher than the shots came from. But it does give you an idea of the view. And here's some of the artifacts they've got, exhibitions they've got inside on the 6th floor. Wasn't as busy as I thought it would be. You didn't really have to queue very long to get in. Now, after the Dealey Plaza, we went to this place, which is where Oswald, Lee Harvey Oswald, was boarding for 6 weeks up to the time of the shooting. And the lady that runs that, Pat, knew Lee Harvey Oswald. She calls him Mr. Lee. She was 11 years old at the time, so a child. She's very interesting to talk to. We sat with her for maybe a couple of hours, and that's where his bedroom was, etc. Sad day for America, and I think it was a sad day for the world.